Are you ready? In
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. And there was one. And then there
1
was
week left.
1 week left. 1 game left in this regular season, and we can put this puppy to bed. I am excited to see the 2020 NFL season in the rearview mirror, to be honest with you. I'm ready for a break from football. I'm ready for the playoffs, actually. I'm pretty excited about the playoffs. I think we have a very competitive field. I think it is going to be a wild playoffs. I'm excited about a lot of things in the world of the NFL right now. Hopefully you are as well, Andy.
Yes, it's very exciting being in week 17. There's only, again, we'll go through it. Maybe we'll take a tally as we go. I think there's only 3 games between teams with legitimately nothing to play for. You know, granted, the Steelers have decided to sit some players, and obviously Casey did too. And I guess I counted that, but we'll count. There's a lot of games that have a lot of implications. Obviously, we know what's going on in the AFC with five teams trying to stick themselves into 4 spots, and the same thing in the NFC with a few less teams. So it'll be a fun Sunday, especially when they mash them all together. You don't get Thursday, you don't get the Saturday. We've been having no Monday night, Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Wednesday night football's canceled till further notice. So it'll be very exciting to see how this all hashes out. And honestly, if I put you on the spot, who misses the playoffs real quick right now? NFC, AFC, who's the 2 teams that miss? I'm going to go Indy Rams.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding. It's Indy Bears, right? Like Green Bay wins.
I'm going to go Miami Bears.
Okay.
I think the Buffalo Bills give us the honest effort. But we'll get to that game. Your point's valid. We have 11 teams vying for 7 spots. That's probably the most uncertainty we've had heading into a week 17 in all of the years I've been handicapping the NFL. I feel like usually there's 1 or 2 question marks. Sometimes the only games week 17 that are interesting are related to seeding. But this year, for sure, we have teams that have life, and it's not fake life. There's real percentage possibilities. A team like let's just pull up a random percentage.
Well, and the
New
biggest
York
part
Giants
of it is the division title thing. Where normally these teams, if you have a division title with 3 teams vying for said division title this late in the year, usually you'll take let's say who's the lowest one. Obviously, Washington's the highest. The Giants are the lowest.
20% chance still.
But yeah, when you have 3 teams like this vying for those playoff spot to win the division, usually you take the Giants, you look at their scenario, and it's like, well, if X, Y, and Z happens, they win the division. But also if Z, Y, and double A happens, they get the wild card. There's usually those are teams that are also vying for the wild card. There's overlap, whereas now you have all these teams that they were eliminated from wild card contention a couple weeks ago, and so then you still have the wild card team. So it is a little unprecedented in that manner too. And I mean, the Eagles were still in it last week even.
Yeah. So I mean, this is probably the most entertaining week 17 we'll have in our lives. I mean, I guess next week there'll be a week 18, so week 17 will actually be pretty awesome, I guess. So maybe I shouldn't say that, but this is going to be very, very fascinating to see how this plays out. I'm excited. As mentioned, of the teams that are alive, the Giants are the lowest in terms of probability of making the playoffs at 19% still. They still have about a 20% chance. Unbelievable. I guess let's get right into that game. You good with that? I don't really have a lot of banter here.
I want to.
Let's dive right in. The New York Football Giants hosting the Dallas Cowboys are 2.5-point dogs. Ooh, that's come down. This was tickling 3. I thought maybe it was going to go to 3.5. There was market momentum, the stampede of bettors that just couldn't get enough Dallas Cowboys. But obviously, someone with influence decided, no. Let's bring this back to a fair price. They took the threes. It's 2.5 now. And that is exactly what I make this game. So I don't think there's value to bet this game at this point. But those loyal listeners, those loyal watchers, everyone who was with us on the live stream on Sunday night, presumably has a nice plus EV ticket in their pocket with Dallas -1. That was one of 3 or 4 plays we made on Sunday night. And
we almost bet the Bears. Like, thank you to the chat.
Yes.
For
Yeah. Thanks
saying,
to the chat.
like, hey,
chat swerved us out of harm's way on that
Green
one.
Bay actually has something to play for. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, Green Bay only has an 80% chance to get the 1 seed, which means they got to try. So yeah, that was a good swerve by the commenters in the chat. But all this said, Dallas at -2.5. Again, for me, this is a fair price, and it's because Dallas has a more capable offense. Okay, the entire handicap on this one, for me, comes down to how mobile, how healthy is Daniel Jones, and what contributions can he give you on the ground. If he's frisky, if he is extending drives, if he is making plays with his legs, Dallas is in trouble because their defense stinks. And on the converse is the case if Daniel Jones is still limited from a mobility standpoint, Dallas's pass rush, their D line, that's the only strength of their defense. They're going to cause problems. They're going to get sacks. They're going to force fumbles. And Andy Dalton, while not necessarily known for performing in the spotlight, has played well the last couple of weeks thanks to solid protection from the offensive line and just superlative play by his 3 wide receivers who are all playing at an all-pro level. It is super cool to watch. And
there's something to that.
Yeah.
Let's just say having more time to practice with said all-star receivers. Like, it was a case where, we saw everybody said the adjustment is too big to go from Dak to Andy. Obviously, everyone who bet on that game got their shit pushed in. It was bad. He was bad. The whole team played bad. And they got scored on, and it was, oh shit, we lost a bet here.
Yeah.
But give it a few weeks, or give it, like, how many weeks has it been? 7? And there was a break in there where he had a COVID thing where he sit out, and I think a COVID and a concussion, or Andy, remember how hard he got rocked?
Yeah, he got hit really, really hard.
He got hit really hard. He had a concussion.
DiNucci season, and then it was Garrett Gilbert season, and then it was Andy Dalton season again.
DiNucci, yeah. He came back from the concussion, got put on the COVID list, so he missed a couple weeks, but you give him enough time to practice with really, really high-end receivers, you're not going to get awful results. So, I mean, this team has looked good on offense.
Yeah.
And defense hasn't been stinkiest thing in the world, I guess.
Yeah. You wouldn't play Dallas at 2.5, though, right? This is a fair price for you?
No, I took a cheap ass one. Like, I was happy with that.
Okay. Did you consider coming back on New York at 3?
It's not a terribly big. I mean, it's a lower total, but it's not a terribly big middle. Okay. A team winning by 2 happens 5% of the time. You got your push probability on 3, but
is Giants a teaser possibility? Home, low total, 2.5 out to 8.5. No. Yes, maybe.
I mean, Bradbury can only cover one guy.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
3.
What if it's Zeke Elliott's show?
That's the thing. That's how you lose this game if you're Dallas. You do swing passes to Zeke Elliott out of the backfield.
Please do not do that. Please.
Don't do that.
I don't know. I'm hopeful Dallas can make a win here. It's been a tough season for them, but they've fought hard down the stretch. They deserve a little bit of credit. And the Giants are a team that I really, really, really do not want to see sneak into the playoffs because that means one of our 6 games next week is unwatchable. So let's go, Dallas.
Giants in primetime.
Jesus, yikes, man.
Yeah, that's your Saturday afternoon game, by the way. Like, that's absolutely what you're doing with that.
Yeah, think about that. Like, that's your first of 6 games is Dallas versus Tampa Bay. The Giants hosting Tampa Bay as a 10.5 point dog. That is for sure the throwaway game where you don't even watch and you spend time with your family so you can watch every minute of the other 5 games. Meanwhile, Dallas Tampa Bay is probably your absolute primetime smasher, right? Like, that breaks all the records Like that would be huge.
It's still like a huge fan base. Like people love their Cowboys. I guess I am not only do I bet this, I want my bets to win. Yeah. I want the Cowboys to win just to get another Skip Bayless dancing video. Those are just nightmare fuel.
Man,
somebody took one of them and changed the background music to the Lazarus Q song from the song from Dances with I'd fuck me coming home for you. Yeah, I can't. Right. Q Lazarus, I think it is. We got.
I think that's correct. Yeah. Okay. So no action at this point. Hopefully everyone's riding Dallas with a nice number for us with us. Excuse me.
It's traditionally the time slot that you get whoever wins the AFC South. Like that's your yay! The Texans made it again.
Yeah,
you guys are like an afternoon team, aren't you?
That's usually the Brock Osweiler slot. Might be the Daniel Jones slot this year. Oh God, no, please. All right, let's move down to Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Do you have some thoughts on this one?
I bet this today. I believe, unless you were talking big talk, you bet this today.
I did. Yes.
Oh, all right. So you phrased this the best. I was getting there. We do this all the time in the chats where I say like 7 things and then you take it all and turn it into one sentence. It makes no sense. You know, like, yeah, I said all this stuff and basically you said, is taking Big Ben off the field and putting Mason Rudolph really worth like 2 touchdowns? Because essentially my power numbers would make this Pittsburgh -3-ish. And this is just, it has gone a little too far. You do have the motivation for Cleveland. Yes, they want to win. Win doesn't mean cover. Again, must win does not mean will win. Must win doesn't mean will cover. 10 points is an awful lot against. I mean, if you want to beat this team, you run the ball up the middle where they're completely beat up and just get your, you don't attack the good corners. You don't keep Baker back there for long dropbacks to get sacked and fumble. You run up the middle, you do short stuff, and I think this game ends up being close. I don't think Pittsburgh wins, but I think it definitely is a 1-score game late where you get to see Mason Duck. I almost called him Duck Hodges. I just called him the one. They were just like one person for me combined, but you can see Mason Rudolph try to lead this will be fun because he is going to be trying to lead a drive at the end of the game to tie or possibly even win the game, and you just hope that interception, whoever intercepts it, gets tackled. You just hope he gets tackled.
Go to the ground.
He's not good, but Big Ben has not been. I mean, Big Ben hasn't been great all year. He's been bailed out by having great receivers, but I mean, the way he's been the past few weeks, it's not that big of a drop off to Rudolph. And I guess Juju probably sits too, but they're going to play. I mean, the young guys are going to play. You're not going to put a backup offensive line in there and get Rudolph killed. Your defensive starters will play. 10 is too much. So I was very happy taking it down. I was going to play this at like 7.5. I was really thinking about it.
Nice.
So pretty happy that it kept moving. Just watch.
Yeah, that assessment was totally fair. Motivation plus a downgrade from Ben to Mason. I'm going to do this very liberally. A quote unquote downgrade from Ben to Mason Rudolph. Because I feel like we might have talked about it either off the air or on this podcast where we were speculating over the last couple of weeks would that even be a downgrade? The way Ben has been playing, especially of late, I don't know that there's a ton of separation between those two players. Honestly, Mason Rudolph is playing for his future on this team, right? If he can come in and show them he has some ability to be a quarterback in this league in a big game, I don't see why they don't keep him around as the backup for Ben next year. Meanwhile, if he comes in and he sucks, then it's clean house. We need a new quarterback for the future, right? So this is a big moment for the kid. And he's going up against a team that has a very poor defense. Cleveland's defense is soft. They made the Jets look great last week. And they're missing a bunch of guys because of COVID, and their practice has been disrupted. There's literally like a dozen things that are going in favor of Pittsburgh in this one. I'm nervous about Cleveland missing the playoffs. Really, if Cleveland gets into the playoffs, they're going to be a tough out. But they still have to get in. They have to win this game, and it's going to be tough. And I sold points down to 8.5. I bet Pittsburgh at plus 8.5 at plus 106 this morning. I think this is a 1-score game, just like you mentioned. I think Mason Rudolph will have the ball in his hand late in this game with the opportunity to tie or win. And whether he pulls that off or not, I can't tell you, but I do think this is a 1-score game. I don't think this is a one-way traffic for Cleveland.
Yeah, and we're not saying Mason Rudolph doesn't suck, but the decisions the decisions Big Ben has been making these last few weeks, honestly, it's not a touchdown downgrade. Like, it's a couple points. Like, yes, he's a downgrade. He's a backup quarterback. It's for sure a downgrade. He's probably 3 points worse, maybe 4. Like, if you threw him out there in a regular season game, if it was a regular season game that they're playing, I'd do like 4, and probably the market would do more, but I'd be around 4.
Right. The bigger issue, and we haven't mentioned this, but and I completely acknowledge the reason that this is 10, the reason that it was 7, and granted, we didn't even go through all of this, but like, this thing was 7 at one point. It was 6.5 at one point. Like, at that point, people realistically factored in Ben's not playing. Like, that was known, that was factored in. That was not a surprise. So all of the reaction after that was market overreaction, in my opinion. The thing is, this does have a long tail where Cleveland is winning comfortably at halftime and Pittsburgh rests more than we think. Right. That's possible. You have to acknowledge that. But that long tail doesn't move the mean enough that you should have a 10-point line here. It should be closer to 7. And I bet plus 8.5. So we'll see if that ends up working out for me. Jets versus New England. What a sad state of affairs here, man. Which team would you rather be taking over right now going forward?
The Bummer Bowl, huh?
Ooh,
I guess one has an established coach where we don't really know. How much
longer are you going to have him, though?
That's the thing. We don't know where his head is at as far as, like, he's accomplished so much, and he's like, is he motivated anymore? Does he really want to stick around and do a rebuild? I don't know. He hasn't said anything, obviously, and I think he loves coaching. He loves the game enough where I don't think he's just going to. Yeah. What's up?
Oklahoma already touchdown.
Good. Yeah, I bet that at 3, and I felt dumb because we missed the pick that you could have had. Now it went to like 8. I'm like, I don't feel so bad having 3 now.
No. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, I don't know where Bill's head's at. He's the kind of guy that could seriously and he's done this before. He's just quit a job. Like, it's a long time ago, but he could seriously quit tomorrow, or he could quit after the game. Like, in the presser, just be like, I'm retiring. I'm we got a lot done. It was fun. I'm on to Cabo.
Yeah, I'm on to Cabo.
On to Cabo.
That's not crazy.
So I don't know where the state of this franchise is. They had a lot of opt-outs, and a lot of them are, veteran players that might not be back that many years anyway. And obviously you don't know what you have for a quarterback. Yeah, and then the other one, you get a fresh start with a new coach. You got a high draft pick. You had a high draft pick in Becton. You got some receivers that aren't bad. The ownership sucks. Like, I wouldn't want to be with the Johnsons.
That's a fair point. Yeah, I would have higher confidence that at some point a Kraft team turns around quicker than a Woody Johnson team.
Yeah, and it's not even Woody Johnson. Woody Johnson, an ambassador. Did you get to keep that job with Biden coming in? Do you just yank ambassadorships? Yeah,
they usually turn over.
Honestly, it would be better. Like, he would be more hands-on than his brother. I think it would be good if he lost that ambassadorship, if that's even a word.
And
that's my take on the Jets. We don't have a real take on this betting.
I don't give 2 shits about this game. I have no take on the handicap. It's a cheap line if the Jets don't try hard, but they have no reason not to. The Patriots offense is broken. Patriots defense is missing a bunch of players. I think everybody's ready to go home for New England. I get why the line's moved into 3. Look ahead was probably like 6 or 7. So there's, you're paying a surcharge if you're betting the Jets in this one. So that was an easy one to skip.
And another easy one. The Jets cannot. Oh, excuse me. Supper. The Jets cannot move out of the 2 spot for the draft. Like, that's where they're at.
They're locked and loaded. Penny Sewell season.
Penny Sewell.
Or Zach Wilson season? Or Mac Jones season? Or Justin Fields season? Who knows? Let's talk about Minnesota, Detroit. Minnesota is 7-point favorites on the road against quarterback question mark and defense question mark. Minnesota is missing a couple players as well. Dalvin Cook's father passed away at a very young age. Sad story.
Yeah,
he will not be playing. Riley Reif is not going to be out there. Tackle. This is literally a game that they probably should just wave the white flag and kneel. 54, big number, considering I don't know who's playing for what. I guess there's guys on each offense playing for future contracts and guys on each defense who can't really put up a defense. So maybe this gets out of hand scoring wise. I zero read on this one.
It benefits, like Minnesota is in a spot where if Dallas wins, like one team that's ahead of them right now is going to go to the playoff. I think actually Washington is in the same spot. I'm not sure how these tiebreakers go, but Minnesota is in the thick of a bunch of 6-9 teams. There's some 5-10 teams that have a chance to win. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the tiebreakers for the draft, but it looks like with a loss, Minnesota could move up into the chunk of teams that's 5-10 that compromises 7 through 10 in the draft. And one of those teams is Detroit. So I assume they might be able to move even ahead of them. Minnesota could end up with a top 10 draft pick without actually doing the math and telling you that that's a real thing. Just looking at the Tankathon site, like losing this, Minnesota could really use a top 10 draft pick. That'd be great. They could get an offensive lineman. They could get a bunch of stuff that, like on defense, if they wanted to trade around. They have a war chest. We talk about Miami's war chest all the time, how many picks they have, and God bless their hearts, they have the 3rd pick as a probable playoff team. Like, wow. Kudos to Miami. They really did it up. I mean, Houston could win and screw that up for them, but they might end up with the 3rd pick and be in the playoffs. That was good maneuvering for the Laramie Tunsil thing, I guess. So Minnesota would behoove them to lose, and maybe, with a backup running back and some problems on the defense, it doesn't matter if it's Chase Daniel and no Galladay, they might lose anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, I can't. I'm not taking the points with Detroit. I have no confidence
on
in them.
that point specifically. Here's why you don't take points with Detroit. These players out there aren't even playing for roles on this roster. Detroit will clean house. GM gone, coach gone. Like there's literally no, everyone that is kind of hoping maybe I have a spot on this team next year. They're not even really playing for that. This isn't one of those situations where they're fighting for a future role on a playoff team. Is that the Oklahoma game?
they picked 6 Trask. Turns out missing all your receivers. It's a bad thing.
Yeah, Trask should probably call it a night. How about that? Trask call it a night. Don't put yourself in this game.
He should pull a hammy and just sit out.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see what the backups got. The backup's bad, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the point. Like Detroit should want to lose this game too. Like this might be hilarious. See, no one's going to try to lose, but busting out the good plays here isn't probably the best chance, your best chance for success in the future.
I don't disagree with that. Let's move on to Atlanta and Tampa Bay. We're just ripping through these shit games. Tampa Bay is 6-point favorites. This has come down. What's up with that? I thought this was gonna. There was a push-pull going on here between 6 and 7. I didn't really understand it. I'm surprised that there's any enthusiasm here to back Atlanta. I guess Atlanta they've been coached well. Raheem Morris has obviously put a lot of good things on tape this season to be considered for either head coaching roles or good defensive coordinator roles next year.
When's the last time an interim kept the job? Maybe somebody in the chat can figure this out while we
Kitchens?
Did Kitchens get it, or was he the play caller and then promoted?
Elevated.
Yeah, I can't think of an interim that got kept. It happens in.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm stumped.
I'm gonna have to go look into that. Maybe somebody will figure it out, but I think he has a chance. He hasn't looked bad, and it's better, and it's hard to not look bad when the previous regime did what they did, and we won't go into all the blunders and foibles of the Atlanta Falcons. Here's to the continued success of the Atlanta Falcons, in the words of the great James Gandolfini.
I don't know what to make of Tampa Bay really in this game either. I mean, they're playing for the 5 seed. I think it's important for them to get the 5 seed. Technically, if they lose and the Rams win, we could have a John Wolford versus Tyler Heineke. Was he the interim? Okay.
He was, yeah. For that team, Greg Williams, because he'd gotten so many.
He was the
calls.
interim, and he got fired, and they elevated the OC. Incredible. Yep. They both every decision was wrong. Okay. But yeah, no, Tampa Bay does have an incentive to win here. They really don't need to be resting their guys. I was surprised that they didn't rest any of their skill position players in the second half of that Detroit blowout. So yeah, they probably get a pretty good rep here. There's no one really ailing, injured, who they have to put in bubble wrap here, who they would want to get a bye for. I think this is probably a competitive game. Then the line looks completely fair to me. If anything, the total is a little high because Atlanta's defense has been playing up. But Atlanta looked like they played their Super Bowl last week against the Chiefs and they lost. So I don't know what kind of effort you get out of the squad this week, even though they seem to like playing for Raheem Morris. So maybe they play hard.
I kept calling him. Well, who's the actual player? Raheem Mostert.
Mostert is the player. Yeah.
Yeah, I kept calling him that, so I'm glad we've straightened that out. But yeah, this is a good, if you're actually paying attention and watching maybe the play calling, or this is a good live betting week, I think, for any one of these games where we say, who the fuck knows what the motivation is. Like, they might come out, play well, but if you see just real basic offense, vanilla, a lot of base defense, not getting tricky with any blitzing, if they just let's go out there and get this game over with. Sometimes you can just tell.
Like, if the game looks like Detroit Tampa Bay's game last week, in the
or it looked like Wisconsin in the first quarter today.
Yeah. Oh, Jim Tom Sula after Singletary. I
saw that.
I think that's correct. I think he was the interim that got elevated. Didn't work out. It's okay though. I personally, I don't think Raheem Morris was going to get the job because they're going to bring in a new GM and he's going to want his guy. Even though he has done great, he should get consideration for other jobs though, for sure. I would build around him. He obviously has a good feel for his locker room.
Did you see that PJ Fleck was in the running apparently for some of these jobs?
What? Are you serious?
It came out today. I don't know if I.
Oh, good Lord. Is that his agent is saying that? His agent probably. If he sounds like PJ Fleck has a good agent, I might give me his agent, man.
That's a great agent.
Yeah. That's a good agent. Kyle Trask picked again.
He might need those receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cornell shouldn't probably, like, he's so old.
No. If you're gonna go defense, you go Young, you go Flores, you go Morris. That's your archetype. You don't go Fangio. You don't go Cornell. You don't go a guy who's been in the league for a long time who does things the old-fashioned way.
Trask has not had a ball hit the ground. He's 4 for 6 with 2 picks.
Hate to see it, man. Hate to see it. Baltimore at Cincy. Is this line a little short? Is Baltimore? Because I was going through my numbers and man, Baltimore's offense has been screaming up my ratings.
Beating the tar out of bad teams.
And actually, they're beating the tar out of bad teams. Same thing with Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay's offense is screaming up my ratings too. I don't know if this is it's all opponent driven, obviously, but over the last 4 weeks, would you believe the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL by a country mile? Not Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. It has been Lamar Jackson and Tom Brady. It is wild over the last 4 weeks how well Lamar Jackson has performed, especially relative to what we saw from him earlier this season. But let us not forget, we are a year removed from him being the clear MVP of the NFL. And now he gets to go up against the Cincy defense. He looked great last week against the Giants. I think he can look equally as good against Cincy. Really just get it. I thought about taking the points with Cincy just to cover a little bit of my exposure with Baltimore, because if they don't get into the playoffs, I'm going to be a super sad sack on Sunday.
What's the scenario where they win and don't get in?
No. They're winning in period. They could lose. Like if they somehow lose this game, so I was shooting for a middle. If I took Cincy at like 2 touchdowns, right?
I guess maybe take like plus 20 live.
Okay.
I don't know. So I mean, since he's been squirrely, quarterback play has been pretty nice for a team with that for the quarterback room right now, and it's a much tougher defense. But I said the same thing before Cleveland played Baltimore. I said this will be a much taller task, and that game had 150 points. So
that's a very, very, very fair point.
Sometimes you got to go backwards to go forward.
I mean, if you want a number 1 pick, by all means, hire Jeff Fisher.
And my boy Ben Barone here has a point.
Yeah.
Ravens with the lead is a truck. They play so well. They play so well with the lead, especially against a bad team. Like it's hard to come back against that.
Yeah, and we're not scared about Brandon Allen and this wide receiver core for Cincinnati doing damage against the Baltimore team that has some injuries in the secondary, right? There's not enough protection for Brandon Allen against this ravenous defense. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like betting Cincinnati against the spread here turns an 18-1 into a 17-1.
Miami at Buffalo. This one's kind of interesting. Buffalo's -3? That's interesting. There was a little momentum that made me think this was going to be in the pick ballpark. There was a lot of people that were very certain that Buffalo was going to be resting players after Pittsburgh came out and said that Ben Roethlisberger wasn't going to get the start.
So the thought process would be, all right, they're sitting Ben, conceding the game essentially, I guess if you want to call it that, even though we bet on them. They're going to sit Ben. They don't want to win the game. We don't have to win the game if they lose. They're now a 10-point dog. I don't know if coaches ever look at the point spread and see that people are now betting the piss out of Cleveland. But if you see that, I guess the thought process is maybe we get what we talked about just now with Kyle Trask. Like, does it behoove this team to leave Diggs and Allen out there in the second half? And maybe it's a scoreboard watching thing. And that's a good reason to maybe not get involved in this game unless I don't know. If you believe they're going to sit Allen and Diggs, getting a field goal here on a team that will be trying to win, maybe not a bad thought, but maybe a one to watch. Like if Pittsburgh comes out and is down huge, you can't tell me in today's day and age they're not scoreboard watching at all. Like if they're down by 21, what is Buffalo's, what's their motivation to leave Allen or Diggs for that matter? Diggs is way more likely to get injured, I would think. I would get him out of there. Like, there's no sense. Just take your free 2 seed and move on. So it's really tricky here. I don't know if people know something because it did get beat down to like 1 for a while and got that back up. I guess somebody thought they knew something and other people thought they were dead wrong. So I'm staying away from this market.
Okay. Same. I didn't have no opinion here, although I think Buffalo is going to play for the 2 seed. I think Miami. Okay. I about fell out of my chair on Sunday when you told me that Miami was starting Tua.
He said it right after the game. It was baffling.
It seemed to me like they got what they needed to get in terms of getting some tape on Tua to make a decision this offseason. And that now that they were in the driver's seat, thanks to the miraculous comeback by Fitzpatrick on Saturday, now just go win and get in the playoffs and get your guys some playoff reps. Just win. But apparently management has not seen enough Tua. They need more. Brian Flores is man. And honestly, I've heard a lot of mainstream media speculation about why this is happening, why that's happening. All of it sounds like total bullshit. Total bullshit. You're not starting Tua because you think he has less of a chance to turn the ball over. Like that's not a thing. Like
I've even heard they need to see if they need to draft a quarterback or not.
I think is the answer. That is the answer. That is for sure the answer. They want to see if Tua in this high pressure situation turtles or performs because they are trying to make a decision about what to do with all their massive draft capital next year. And And this is a big spot for him. Hopefully he shines. Hopefully he shows them something good. I thought last week was the test. He was going up against a way softer defense in the Raiders, and he did not pass the test. So maybe I'm just a little ahead of them and saying, because I have not pot committed, I haven't invested the resources. I'm more willing to say, okay, well, you draft a quarterback. Let's see another guy. Right. I'm not saying he won't ever evolve. I'm just saying I think we've seen enough to know that they ought to spend that 4th pick on a quarterback. They apparently need more. They want to see Tua in a little bit more high pressure situation. They want to see him in a must-win game, get a win. Maybe they're trying to build up his confidence. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I have no idea. All I know is that Brian Flores risks losing this locker room because they all know in that locker room that they have a better chance to win this game, go to the playoffs, if Fitzpatrick takes the snaps. All that said, Flores is walking a tightrope. He's doing it well. He ought to be coach of the year for those reasons. And I won't be shocked if, this is a similar situation where if Tua's not getting it done at halftime, maybe they give him the hook and we see Fitzpatrick in the second half and he comes back and beats the Buffalo Bills. The other kind of not talked about thing in this game that's fascinating to me is, will Josh Allen look as good against a bona fide pass defense? It's been a while since we've seen Josh Allen go up against a really good pass defense, and Miami absolutely qualifies. They're very, very challenging to read, to dissect. The play in this one is obviously the under, but I don't know if I can get involved. What do you think?
No, and who knows? Like if you bring in Fitzy,
I might bet the under. Fuck.
It's a bad one because it could be Buffalo. If Buffalo keeps the starters in, yeah, they could run it up. If they pull the starters out, I don't know what Miami does with that. If they're getting the ball back, Tua's been up and down. I don't want to say Tua's bad, but I cannot say he's good. He's looked good in certain situations, but under pressure, he's looked horrible. He's made some bad decisions. He's made some bad decisions with his legs, running at the wrong times. I think he just needs more time. It's super tough to really figure out, what's going on. And with the lack of continuity at the receiving, with not only the receivers, but the tight end, you've been missing some pieces here and there. And then also, my God, the announcers can't get enough of the, these two, Fitzpatrick and Tua. A lot of guys they wouldn't like this getting pulled, but these guys are always just cheering for each other. This quarterback room's so tight. Like, they could not say that enough. Like, that's bad. Like, no, you need to be pissed if they're putting Fitzpatrick in. That's not a competitor. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. I guess. Oh,
like Fitzpatrick was mad when he got yanked. He was, of course, pissed.
Yeah. He showed some fire. He showed some spirit. I think I think the answer is give him a full offseason of, he didn't have any practice reps in the entire offseason because of his hip injury, but I think you absolutely bring in another quarterback. And you have more assets. You could potentially trade them. You have to, I think.
They have so many draft picks.
Yeah, I think you have to. I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know how you're better served for the future unless you take a second quarterback. I mean, look at what the Washington football team did with RG3 and Kirk Cousins in the same year. Like, that ended up being a bailout for them. Look at what the Arizona Cardinals did, evaluating Josh Rosen on the fly, getting a clear signal he was not the guy, and moving on. Instead of taking Nick Bosa, they took Kyler Murray, and they're in a lot better shape because of it. So, I don't know. I think you give him give Tua a full off season as the guy, QB1, and you draft a guy to challenge him and see if there's a ton of quarterbacks that are not like, I'm going up into the top 10. Like, there's a bunch of decent quarterbacks that'll be second day guys, and with enough picks, you grab one of those. And I guess, I would disagree with this. Tagging his ass 2 years in a row ruined that relationship. Yeah, they fucked him so hard at the tag. The tag sucks. It sucks for a player like that. Cousins said that when he signed with Minnesota. He said, "This is the first time I've gotten to choose where I play since I committed to Michigan State when I was 18." Like, it is funny how it works. And, poor NFL players making their millions. But it does, it sucks. Like, oh man, I got to go play for the Jets.
or Washington. Like that isn't going to be fun.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep moving. Jacksonville, Indy, absolutely no take on this one. Indy is injured up and down their roster, but Jacksonville is actively losing, actively trying to lose. Maybe they give you a little bit of effort here. It would be pretty hysterical if Jacksonville somehow played their second best game of the season and bookended Indy with W's at both ends. And kept them out of the playoffs. That would be kind of hysterical. I have no interest in getting involved though with the Jacksonville ticket at this point. They are playing extremely poorly. This looks like it's going to be the Mike Glennon show. Jacksonville, if they had any manifestation of a pass rush, could put some pressure on Indy. Indy's going to be without a bunch of their offensive linemen. I don't have any idea where Jacksonville goes from here. Probably a clean house. On the Kyle Trask picked again. What the hell is he doing back in the game?
I guess they were rotating quarterbacks around.
Why are we doing this, guys?
I don't know, and it sucks for this kid because he might have lost a bunch of money.
Yeah, he probably should.
I mean, you go have a good combine, go have a good pro day, whatever that helps. But throwing 3 picks in this game isn't good because, truthfully, like. Oklahoma's a pretty bad pass defense also. Like I get you're missing your receivers, but this team can be thrown on. So whatever. I'm sorry, Mr. Trask.
That sucked, man. Indy, I'm not super sorry to miss out on them in the playoffs. Although, again, I think Miami probably loses to Buffalo because Buffalo gives you an honest effort and they win 20-17 or something like that. And Indy is the 7th seed against Buffalo next week. That's probably how that goes, but I don't 100% know.
What's that line in Buffalo? I should pull up my power numbers.
Indy Buffalo. That is Bills minus. No, did you say 8? It's definitely not 8.
I'm going to put it in here quick. We're going to go Indy.
I'm going to say it's going to be between 4.5 and 6, depending on how good Buffalo looks this
I'd
week.
make it 4.
I make it 4.5 myself, but I think they might hang a 6.
Oh, shoot. No, never mind. That's my power. I don't have. Why isn't Buffalo reading? Why? Is
that Baltimore, Indy?
Oh, well, I just can't get it to read the. Did I abbreviate Buffalo? Stupid, or what is happening here?
Buffalo is abbreviated B.
Oh, I keep going Indy with a Y. It's IND. My shit can't make sense of it. All right, yeah, I make Buffalo a favorite.
Yeah. By 4.5.
4.1.
Yeah. Okay.
Can live with that.
That sounds about right. We'll get to more of those hypotheticals this weekend. Excited for that. One of my favorite games. Let's move it down to Green Bay, Chicago. I played the over. It has gone up. This is at 52 now. My fair price here is 53, 54. If things go right weather-wise. Do you have a read one way or the other?
I mean, we tried to bet the Bears and then realized that Green Bay actually had something to play for. What do you think? I guess, how do you feel about the Green Bay defense and how they match up? They can get some pressure. Okay. They can get some pressure in some different kind of ways than maybe, your traditional pressure or your Baltimore style blitzing. They can maybe get to Mitch, but if Mitch is clean and it's him playing against a defense that can be hit again, it's likely another week of Mitch Trubisky looking kind of good against a suspect pass coverage. They have some good receiving options. What I'm saying is Chicago will score. Like
exactly.
I want the over.
There was a narrative. There was a thought bubble floating around this week about Green Bay is playing championship defense after what they did to Tennessee, after what they did to Carolina, and they didn't really even defend Carolina especially well. I didn't think, but they beat Tennessee, and it was entirely because the Tennessee blockers' feet were slipping all over the place. The offensive line had absolutely no hope in the snow. They weren't prepared for that at all. Bad coaching by Vrabel not having his guys ready for a snow game. And they were exposed that way. Zadarius Smith had an amazing game rushing the passer because he wasn't being blocked. I don't think you can realistically expect
bad strategy with him.
It is. And Chicago's offensive line has been playing better. Like a lot of people get credit for Chicago playing better in the last 4 weeks, but it has all somehow gone to Mitch Trubisky. He's not grading as well as the hype would suggest. He's not really even performing that differently than we have seen from the body of work he's been as a pro, but yet he's getting all this credit because the Bears are winning. In reality, they're calling better plays. They're getting more out of their rush game. They're getting better play out of their offensive line. And, you know, they've been playing crappy teams. So it's not entirely fair, I don't think, to expect that Trubisky is going to go light the world on fire here. But can he get to 24 points against the soft Green Bay defense? Yes. I think especially
we bet on him doing this in garbage time once in a game.
We did.
I mean, they wanted to win, but I mean, they were so far out of it. In this one, you know, this is what does he say? What does the announcer keep saying in The Water Boy? You know, you leave it all out in the field.
Yeah, and you have two coaches that are great at scripting plays. You have two defenses that are missing some pieces and or weak in certain areas. I think this could be heavy duty scoring right from the whistle, right from the first whistle. I think I got over 50.5. It's at 52 now. I still think there's some small edge there. Realistically, I think Green Bay gets this win, secures the 1 seed, and sends Chicago home. But crazier things have happened. It's in Soldier Field.
Did we find anything else out about Green Bay and their schedule this week?
Are you trying to prompt me for something I know and I forgot?
Yeah, I mean, didn't we talk about their schedule when you brought up the trivia question in the math?
Oh, yes. Yes. Jesus. Yeah, thank you.
It was your tidbit, buddy.
Yeah, I was quizzing you and Suma. I was like, what do you guys think? Who do you think has played the softest schedule so far this season in terms of opponent wins? And it was shockingly the Green Bay Packers. They have the softest strength of schedule of any team in the National Football League. Their opponents have a win percentage of .430 so far this season, which is not great. That's well below 500. And yeah, Green Bay in general, probably a little overrated. Can't really quantify that to the degree I would love to, but probably overrated. And honestly,
the Bears have been winning games against horrible teams. We don't think they likely compete or maybe even get inside this number, but dude, they'll score.
What a laugh. What a laugh I will have if Green Bay loses this game and somehow loses home field advantage in the NFC. I will have a good old belly laugh. I will have a good belly laugh. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers MVP will be a little bit dicey at that point. Mm-hmm. I was pretty psyched
if he loses to
one last week.
Yeah, they all of a sudden it's like even. Well, it's like he might have just have it anyway because Mahomes not playing. But
yeah. Walter knows Chicago's been winning against shitty teams.
The shittiest of teams.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how good Green Bay is, but that's just my bias. Maybe, who knows?
That's just your opinion, man.
Tennessee at Houston. This game is going to make me crazy. I kind of want to scream about the fact that
I kind of want to bet Houston.
Houston, what? You kind of want to bet Houston?
Just to buy out. I just want to buy out now.
In the heart of my heart, I want the best for Deshaun Watson, which is why I do not want him to take the field, irrespective of the fact that I have a Tennessee bet in this game. I do not want to see him get hurt for no reason. And I think cooler heads will eventually prevail and keep him out. It doesn't serve anyone.
Let him play like a quarter. And I made this joke because I've been making jokes about this pass rush all year. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? He's not going to get hit. They don't have a pass rush. They have like 1 sack in the last 5 games or something silly. So I guess there's that. It's your home finale. I don't know. I play him for a quarter. I could live with that, but yeah, don't leave him out there for the game in a meaningless game. Like the best piece, probable top 5 quarterback when he's surrounded by the right coaching and roster, an absolute dynamic player who's had some bumps and bruises already in his young career. Let's not do something stupid. So is this off the board? Somebody just mentioned that. I'm seeing it up at most places. I thought I saw it up. Maybe it is down right now. All right, I guess I just did pull that from a screen, so it probably is. I guess I wouldn't blame him for taking it down with the Houston stuff going on. If you think Watson sits out, what is this? Also, who's the backup?
Oh, it is off the board. That's good. That might be good news.
That's a good question.
That might be good news.
Pop quiz.
Although Houston's having a COVID issue.
Yeah, they have some issues. Obviously, Cleveland. Did we even bring that up with Cleveland? Like they're having COVID issues.
Yeah, I brought that up. Yeah, it was. It's not going to keep a bunch of their guys out, but it's at least going to disrupt their preparation.
So AJ McCarron or Josh McCown, who would you rather start?
Josh McCown, obviously.
Wrong answer. Doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter. That's true.
Yep. Shoot the hostage.
Shoot the hostage.
Jack says it's up in New Jersey. So.
Okay, I think it's off.
You can bet this on?
WinBet.
WinBet.
Let me look on my WinBet app. That thing is.
Oh, you know what you can do? You can bet 500. You get 500 risk free. Place that bet. Get a free deep dive hoodie, and you'll be looking great. So, thanks for the reminder from New Jersey. According to the depth chart, McCarron is the backup, and McCown will be his backup. So
McCown tore his hamstring muscle off the bone last year. So, oh no, it's WinBet as well. So how about that? It's got to be the COVID thing.
It's down.
Yeah, it's down. There's a lock. It's faded lock sign 7.5.
No, I'll have to look at some of the other.
I'm sure it's the COVID thing. All right. Well, I just hope cooler heads prevail and they don't put Deshaun Watson in harm's way. Please. You've done enough to harm this guy's career. Really.
And we bet the -7.
That's great. That's the cherry on top. That's a cherry on top. All right. Let's move on to New Orleans, Carolina. Do you have a handicap here?
Yeah.
Captain Jack's watching. We're giving him away info for the Kolkata.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how I feel about New Orleans.
I actually am very high.
I don't have a lot of takes on these playoff teams
to do well. Colts are going to get in, and they're going to make a little noise, I think.
To this, it's not a bad teaser. It's a road favorite, but it's not a bad teaser leg if it comes back up. But I have a feeling once it comes back up, we'll know more about the quarterback, and it might not be 7.5. So if you have it up now, maybe do it. But it's a sketchy week.
I don't think. Yeah, no. There's better ways. There's better things you can do with your money.
Yeah, like Bitcoin. Or
yeah, like blow a bunch of Bitcoin on a Calcutta.
Or deposit it into WinBet. New Orleans, Carolina. Carolina's frisky. I like their coaching staff. I think they're going places with the roster eventually, but it's a team that's not super competitive. There are situations where I believe Seattle could take the 2 seed if New Orleans loses. Like, I think New Orleans could go 1 through 3.
No. If New Orleans, okay, now I'm going to get myself in trouble because I'm not 100% sure how this goes. But
somebody asked this morning.
If Seattle and New Orleans both win, then New Orleans is the 1.
Well, see, so somebody needed They need Green Bay to lose.
Green Bay's got to lose.
And then for them both to win, because the tiebreaker is different when it's in a three-way.
Three-way tiebreaker. Okay.
When it's in a three-way. So if Green Bay drops to 12-4 and New Orleans and Seattle advance to
also
12-4, then it goes to conference record, and it would be New Orleans having the best conference record. So New Orleans would win the 1 seed in a three-way tie, but I think might lose it in a 2-way tie with Green Bay.
Okay, so here's the thing. If it's a 3-way tie, New Orleans wins.
Yes.
If it's a 2-way tie between Seattle and Green Bay, Seattle wins.
Yes.
So New Orleans
if Green Bay if
Seattle a chance.
If Green Bay wins and Seattle wins and New Orleans loses, Seattle would get the 2 and New Orleans could be the 3 seed.
Yeah.
And then if they both, it's very convoluted, but basically New Orleans should want to compete and win this game. if their offense is working, they should be able to scorched earth some of these secondary pieces. Although it's been a good team, so I don't know. This total might be a titch low, but I'm not super excited to get involved with
No.
I'm not super excited to get involved with.
Although New Orleans is ascending because Drew Brees is getting healthier, they probably win pretty comfortably, I think. And for our New Orleans futures that we got down at exactly the right time, 7-1 to win the NFC. I would love to see them steal the 1 seed from the Packers. That would just be excellent. Excellent. For that to happen, New Orleans has to win, Seattle has to win, Green Bay has to lose. New Orleans gets the 1. That would be the best. That would be the most enjoyable week 17 experience for me.
Fantastic.
For sure. That and
I would.
Baltimore taking care of business. That'd be great.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do some real amateur hour shit and bet like a really weird money line parlay this week.
Ooh, just for that fun.
Just for fun. Yeah.
Chicago,
I just do that all the time.
Chicago, New Orleans, Seattle.
I'll do like a revert. I'll do a all underdog one, and then I'll do just a gross favorites one.
Well, if you do it at WinBet, you can actually spin the parlay wheel and get a bonus or insurance or something else cool. I saw that video.
Betspurts did tweet that out. I've shared that video with a few people, but yeah, like if you live in Jersey,
it's a slick product. I give them a ton of credit. They developed something innovative and it's slick looking too. So whatever.
Well, it's nostalgic for me because my first trip to Las Vegas, I stayed at the Wynn. And when you check in and you get your Players Club card, the first thing you do is spin the wheel. And there was all these great prizes, and I won 4 free buffets, which true. And eventually, like I went and checked, and like supper buffet was like $58. I'm like, well, I guess it's worth something. But then you realize, like, oh, we are degenerates and we play enough blackjack where we would never pay for a buffet anyway.
No, not ever. Not ever. Okay. So moving down.
We're gonna do this in under an hour today. We might have to.
Well, that's good because we have a lot more Calcutta prep to do. So that's fine.
Yeah, we have a lot of Calcutta prep.
Chargers, Chiefs. Okay, now help me talk through this because I am so close to firing on KC. Kansas City is underwhelmed week in, week out for 2 months, right?
Yes.
But I feel like we learned something important last week, or at least I did. And it was in that Arizona-San Francisco game. When you have a team that is championship caliber, but playing for nothing, and in this case, I'm going to use San Francisco last week as the example. And they were missing a bunch of players because of injury, not because of rest, right? But you are bringing all of these second tier guys, giving them the opportunity to prove that they deserve a bigger role on a championship team. They deserve a role on the spot on the roster next year as they pursue another championship, right? Like I feel like you got solid plus effort performances out of all of those replacement level guys for San Francisco last week because they were trying to secure a roster spot on a title run for the Niners next year. And I feel like this is similar with Kansas City where, you have a bunch of guys, Pringle, Hardman. These guys are trying to get on this team next year. They are for sure not guaranteed roster spots on Kansas City next year. They need to show the Chiefs brass something in this game to prove that they deserve another run with the Chiefs. Similarly, the Kansas City defense, bunch of guys that are trying to make a name for themselves, get paid.
I get the narrative, but it sounds like no Frank Clark, no Chris Jones, no Honey Badger.
So
I just think they're going to give up a shitload.
Who's not going to be out there for the Chargers? Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Keenan Allen and Bosa. I know, but they still can throw. If you're going to take away your best pass rushers, and then also take away a piece in the secondary, you're going to get eaten up by. I mean, they're going to give up a bunch of points. They've looked okay with
and Hunter Henry and whatnot.
Yeah, they looked okay with a hobbled Allen and missing pieces. That this offense has looked okay throughout the season. This is a bad defense.
Points, and they did it the freaking hard way against Denver last week.
Yeah, Denver's an anomaly. People don't play normal versus Denver. I have no reason why. Did we even talk about Denver? Did we skip that game?
No, it's coming up. Vegas Denver is in 2.
Okay.
So you think I stay away from KC in this spot? Because honestly, I feel like I feel like you get their best effort because it's all these replacement level players who are playing for something.
I guess, man, just is there a better way to attack that than? I mean, if you play them to win, then I guess.
Okay.
Or split it 3.5, little on the money line, 50/50. I get what you're saying. I just don't know what their defense is going to look like. Even against a Keenan Allen-less offense, it's still a decent offense against somebody missing. I mean, it's your 3 best defensive players are going to sit likely.
Okay.
Which is a recipe for disaster against Brendan Dassey and the rest of the Chargers offense.
Chad Henne's completion percentage is pretty spectacular this year.
And that's the thing. Like Henne's not
He's completing 83% of his passes this year, man.
Matt Moore won a game versus the Vikings last year, but that's the thing too. There probably no Tyreek. Obviously, no Tyreek. He's been battling injuries. Kelsey won't play, and then obviously Patty. So it'll be interesting to see who else they put out there on offense. But I'm not hopeful for them stopping. Same game teaser. Let's go.
Chad Henne hasn't started a game and won since. Oh my God! Wow. Do you want to guess the date? The last date that Chad Henne started a game and won.
Was it in college?
No, he's got a decent record as a starter. It's not good, but it's not bad.
Man, like 2012?
2013, December 5th, 2013, he beat the Houston Texans with the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-20.
Pretty Jag. Oh my God. Hoofty.
Yeah. 2013, 7 years ago, was his last win. All right, I'm gonna skip it. Good call. Good call.
I mean, watch the line. It gets bigger, whatever. Seattle at San Francisco. Seattle is something to play for, but San Francisco a little owly, a little squirrely, a little so I don't know, maybe the same situation. You've got a bunch of people playing that maybe weren't looking to play huge roles as the season started with something to prove late in the season. They looked great against Arizona, and by great I mean Arizona looked horrible, and they did just enough to win that game. They're still in a bad situation with their roster. This number is about right. And again, I ran my power numbers, and I compared them to the prices, and I didn't put much stock into it because it's so hard to this week. Just with shit's moving. So I make this one Seattle, and not even move it. CA against SF. And what's my line? 6. And my San Francisco number doesn't make any sense most year. I mean, I'd show value on San Francisco again, but I'm probably not betting into that. Okay. If you're Shanny, like you're not the kind of guy who mails stuff in. I mean, we saw that last week. That was a must-win game for Arizona. They needed that for playoff positioning. That I think may have even clinched a spot if they'd gotten it done, and they didn't. So I mean, San Francisco is still playing tough. Their roster's a little rough. What's Jeff Wilson's health look like?
I think he got hurt last week, but he was explosive as hell when he was in.
He's been explosive a couple times this year. I don't know. I'd like to see him play more next year, honestly. Like him and Mostert is kind of a nice combo.
Yeah, that is a good combo. They have a lot of money dedicated to other guys, though. I don't know.
I guess I think he's fine. Mostert's ankle.
He was not on the injury report.
Yeah, Mostert's ankle is that put him on the IR, so he might have a day. I'm not excited about this game.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think of this total? Just based on the regression we've seen in Seattle's offense and San Francisco, and
it's a little low.
It's yeah.
It reflects those. Yeah,
I get why it's low. I get why it's set in the mid 40s, but
yeah, I don't have any read on Seattle at all right now. I think Seattle in general is overrated defensively still, even though They held the Rams to 9 points last week. I want to blame that on Goff and the Rams more than I want to give Seattle credit. San Francisco's not the offense that's really going to test these guys, though. We're not going to see Seattle's defense really get tested for a while. They're probably going to draw the Arizona Cardinals in the 3-6 matchup. They're probably going to do fine against them. It's going to be
overtime with them
probably in the 2-3. We're probably not going to get a chance to really hammer away against this sorry ass overrated Seattle defense until the divisional round against the Saints. And at that point, even it's going to be putting our lives in the hands of Drew Brees and his noodle arm. At least
I would do that over putting my life in the hands of Beat Hard.
Yeah, I think so too.
So but team to monitor in the playoffs.
Yeah, agreed. Vegas, Denver. Do you have any indication that you will watch more than 1 minute of this game?
Do you put Carr out there?
I think you do. You put Carr out there.
Last week, the scenario was he still looked hurt, man. He couldn't move right. Those throwaways down in the red zone, like he looked like he.
Yeah, I was pulling my hair out, holding an over ticket in that game. I was pulling my hair out.
Like, I'm not sure I'd start him based on that because technically they weren't dead last week, but their playoff scenario involved Baltimore losing to Cincinnati and the Giants. Like, it wasn't dead. I guess, Lamar could have disappeared off the face of the earth or something, and it's alive. So you go with your best players if they're available and ready to play while you're still live, but they're eliminated, and he looked like he was not limber and ready to go last week. So it'll be interesting if they just let him play again. I guess if he's fine, whatever. And I think it's a big downgrade. Injured Carr doesn't look nearly as good, obviously, and I don't think Mariota's going to come in and light the world on fire like he did on that one drive against God, who was that? Where he got hurt? Was it the Chargers game? The infamous Thursday night Chargers game. So Drew Lock truly and utterly sucks. He's a problem. So I've got a hurt quarterback versus a suck quarterback. Two teams with nothing to play for. It's winter time in Denver at altitude. You get a dome team playing outside. I don't know. Like, do you want to play like a Denver money line in this? Is that what you want to do with your Sunday afternoon? Do you want to play the over? The last time this game played, Denver would not contribute. I had the over in the first game here. The Vegas scored 30 something. Denver was it might have been like 40-10 or something awful. Where it's like they gave nothing. They gave them nothing. So I'm full of stay away here. Yeah,
this is blow it up. Both of these teams. I think this is two irrelevant franchises right now. I don't think either of these teams has much to say about the playoff picture next year. The fact that both are going to bring back their coaches. I mean, Gruden has 6 more years left on his 10-year deal. Vic Fangio, they're going to bring Fangio back. They still think they have something with Drew Lock. They're going to stick with him at quarterback. I mean, Denver could be a very sad state of affairs next year. They're basically like, well, once we get all the healthy pieces, man. I mean, Drew Lock showed us enough this year that he is not the guy. I know that, with more weapons, he could be a little more dangerous, sure, but his accuracy is a major problem. I guess here's what we do. If we catch reports that Drew Lock is working out with Jordan Palmer in the offseason, then we know he's on the Josh Allen arc, and we get some Denver team total over next year. If he's not, if he's just looking good in practice and showing command of the offense and
always impressed with them.
Then it is a full pull the parachute, ripcord. Let's fade this team. And blame Elway. Absolutely. This is all his fault. Absolutely. This is his fault. And he's got enablers around him where he thinks he's doing a great job at evaluating talent for this team. And in reality, he's hitting like a quarter of his draft picks. So that's not enough. Let's keep moving on. Okay. Is this one really back up? Arizona's -3? Is that right?
This might have just
Arizona
been
-3
off the screen. I'm going to pull up a site quick, see if it's up. I don't know that this is on the board.
It is on the board. Arizona.
Put it on the board.
-3. Put it on the board. 41. John Wolford versus Kyler Murray. 41 is your total.
I have it down. Where did you find it?
It's up at WinBet.
BOL?
It's up at WinBet, and
WinBet.
it's up at Bookmaker as well.
I have it locked in my bookmaker. Anyway, I found it for -3.
Oh, you do? No, it's up there.
What did we bet the Cardinals at?
+5.5.
How much are they going to lose by? Like 100?
6.
Like, well, 6?
Yeah. Exactly 6. Yeah. I mean, you don't get me wrong. Like, how bad do you want to put the Rams in a teaser right now? You just have a big old fat middle.
Both sides.
Have a big old middle on this one.
I didn't think of that. I pulled this off the screen. I didn't even for some reason in my mind it was like LA -3 still. But yeah, LA was a 5.5 point favorite. We grabbed this on the beautiful Sunday opener stream. This will live up there with the Seattle -4, hopefully. We said maybe Goff doesn't play. And then Goff doesn't play. And we're like, yes. And then we like 10 minutes later, 10 minutes later, it's like Calamari is out. Like he's hurt. His legs are busted. He can't play. He's not practicing. That's how Suma says it. Calamari. But you know, the injury to Kyler Murray was like, oh shit. Like, did we get cute? And yeah, Goff is out. But now we're gonna end up with Chris Streveler, who I believe was the bassist for Creed. I'm not sure I wanted to be involved in that game anymore.
He does kind of look like the bassist for Creed. I've seen the pictures.
Absolutely does. Look at this photograph. That's Nickelback shit.
That's
Nickelback. Cut
yeah.
that.
Although he also spent time in Canada. Wait.
He was a CFL quarterback. So as of now, where we stand on Wednesday evening, 8 p.m., 11 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour Central Standard Time, Kyler Murray practiced today. The Rams signed Bortles. Cooper Kupp. Was that injury or Rona? I didn't even pay attention. He's just out.
Rona.
So Cooper Kupp, Rona, backup quarterback. Our quarterback starting. Both teams need to win, obviously, to get into the playoffs. But one of our teams is feeling a lot better at the quarterback position. And yes, you still have Donald and Leonard to deal with. But I feel a lot better, obviously, having, you know, if you just had to bet this at a pick, which I get easy for me to say because it's -3. Like, that's a dumb statement, isn't it? But I mean, even if they gunned ahead and you had to bet -3, I think I'd lay the points before I took them. I don't know what I'm getting from this Wolford character. It could be a really bad. I mean, you could have he's not a practice squad wide receiver, but I haven't seen much of this guy. I saw some highlights, if you want to call him that. He's just not going to get enough time with this offense, and now he's missing a receiver. So I'm happy. I think Arizona wins this game. I think Arizona gets into the playoffs.
Okay.
What is the scenario? So if Arizona wins
near the 6. Arizona wins near the 6.
And then if Green Bay wins, Rams get in over the Bears.
Yeah, that's your most likely playoff matchups in the NFC are Green Bay gets the bye, New Orleans versus the Rams.
Florida scored.
I know. Stupid Sooners are being stupid. The Saints Rams probably get Saints -8.5 ish if it's Wolford. Your 3-6 is Seattle. Arizona probably gets Seattle -6 ish at their current strength.
Yeah.
And then Washington football team, Tampa is your likely 4-5. I would guess that's going to be Tampa -8.5, maybe more, maybe 10. If it's Dallas, Tampa Bay, I think maybe you're in the 7.5 ballpark ish. But that's your most likely picture in your NFC playoffs wildcard weekend.
And I mean, this is what the Rams have going for them. They do have the better coach. They have a much better defense, and they have home field. But man, it's it's awful hard to get excited about the most important and irreplaceable spot on the. They already had a bad quarterback. Like, how bad does this guy have to be behind Goff?
Yeah. I mean, there was a game earlier this season where we made a case that the backup was going to do a fine impersonation of the guy he was replacing against the Arizona Cardinals, and he stunk. And that was Andy Dalton and the Cowboys on Monday Night Football getting railroaded by this Cardinals team. So, yeah, I think the Cardinals get a win also. Obviously, I hope they cover the +5.5. If they don't, I'm going to be feeling real stupid. I'm going to be like, man, I don't know. If this gets out to 3.5, are you going to take the Rams?
Maybe. Probably not, though, because I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Just rolling with it. I get the backup quarterback for Florida. Like, he's looking good, but he just barfed all over the field, too. Like a few times. Like, just
dude, the Cotton Bowl is
Cotton Bowl's off the hook.
Jump the shark. It's off the hook. It's jump the shark. It's out of control.
Yeah, this is fair. He's not 8 points worse. I'm just like, if you, I'm in no way, shape, or form am I saying bet Arizona at -3. But
no,
if you made,
that's why I'm asking you if it gets out to 3.5, if you're going to take Rams.
I kind of think
big fat middle. I kind of think I might do.
If you get both 3s and one of the 4s.
By the way, just for the record, this is such a stale number. I'm not even going to put this on my tracking or on my card that I post every Thursday. Like, it's just too big of a. I think there's.
I put it in the spreadsheet days ago.
Well, yeah, but your process of getting your numbers in your for public consumption is more. It's totally defensible. I'm not fast. I do it a different way. I'm slow to get my my stupid card pulled together, and I'm not going to put it on there. So if
I put mine up on Sunday, and sometimes
so stupid.
I put mine up on Instagram on Sunday, and sometimes I have a Thursday play on there, like a game that already happened. Sorry, that game happened. Should have paid attention. It's your own fault. You didn't want to bet the Chargers anyway. I don't care if it won. You didn't want that evil on.
Yeah, the Rams Patriots under is a solid play 4 days ago.
Yeah, you're welcome. Where were you?
You're welcome.
I think Oklahoma just fumbled. I think this game's about to be tied.
Are you fucking kidding me?
They're back. Yep,
they're back in the red zone. And
they're in the red zone again.
Why is Trask playing now? They're trying to get.
They don't want to win. They're trying to get a better draft pick.
Oh my lord!
Because the other guy barfed.
Draft pick. This game is a.
And then Trask just got sacked. Show. All right. Speaking of shit shows.
Oh my god.
Taylor Heineke versus Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts brings some things to the table, but he's still raw. He's a rookie. He didn't get an offseason with this team. He didn't get a lot of reps with the ones throughout the season. So he's still raw, and this is a bad situation for him. I want Philly to win because I want Dallas to win the division. But that's a tough ask for him against a tough front seven. And I want Philly to win, but if you made me bet this game, I'd probably take Washington at this price.
Really at this price, because you could have had it at plus money on Sunday.
I know. I'm not saying I'm going to bet it, but it's just like if you made me bet this, it's Washington in the under.
Okay. I played the under. I am nervous about Taylor Heineken, whatever his name is, Tyler Heineken. He's obviously it's a different handicap if it's Heineken versus Smith. If Alex Smith goes, and I think they're going to force Smith out there, I think it's an exceptionally conservative game plan. And he's not going to turn the ball over. He's not going to give Philly short fields. It's all going to be about field position. It's all going to be about let the Washington football team defense dictate the state of this game. And that is a dead nut under. It is a dead nut under. Okay. If Alex Smith goes, if Taylor Heineke goes, it's a lot more of a wild card, and it's a lot more. He could turn the ball over. He could, give Philadelphia some free points. He could take the top off the defense a little bit more effectively than Alex Smith probably. Taylor, the fact that McLaurin's not going to be available, I'm assuming McLaurin's not going to be available, helps my under. The fact that Hurts is going up against a defensive line that's by far and away the toughest he's faced to this point in his young career helps the under. The O-line for Philly still stinks. Hurts has been running like for his life against worse defensive lines, including the Cowboys last week. This is going to be a huge tough test for him. I think realistically, this is a field goal game. One of these teams wins 15-12 or something stupid.
I know I think Hurts struggles. I think he's really going to just struggle against it's a bad O-line. It's a great D-line. Just good scheme up front. If he can escape and use his legs and move down the field, with some of his escapability and connect with, they're getting some healthier receivers all of a sudden. Deshaun Jackson appearances. Like, you could beat this team over the top. If something like that happens, Philly wins, I guess. But if he struggles with this defensive line, it could be a very long game for the Philadelphia team that was really a presumptive favorite for a few weeks in the middle of the season, just based on everyone else sucks. And not only that, you guys have a tie. That's going to help you later on. So,
that's very, very fair. That's very, very fair.
And Philly is eliminated. If you want to go motivation or whatever, they do not have anything to play for. They should want a better draft pick. They have so many holes.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Dude, how bad
don't want to bet this. I like your under. You got to do. What did you get for a number?
43. So not a great one.
Sitting there.
Yeah, still sitting there.
Elshon's not a deep threat.
Not fast. He's on the Kelvin Benjamin diet right now.
If you could just hold on to the ball, that's enough for me and the Philly fans. So there's been a lot of frustration for Philly fans, obviously, this year with the Wentz thing and the fact that they should have, made a run at this division and tying the Bengals, some of the bad results they had. So hopefully Philly gets it done in a slugfest here.
Fingers crossed, because I want entertainment wildcard weekend, and that means Dallas, Tampa Bay, not what the fuck Tampa Bay. Ready to wrap? Good job on this entire
shorter one. We just kind of glossed through some of these games. Sorry. If you have any other questions on these games, hit us up. Hit us up with stuff. We'll answer. I'm just gonna be I'm doing brown bag bets tomorrow, and then that's the end of my work day. We're gonna go. What are you doing for New Year's Eve food? Drink is easy. You get some good champagne, you drink whatever else you like to drink.
We are cracking into the cellar and bringing out the good bubbly.
The good champers.
My house.
What are you eating though? What's on the menu at the Dinsick household?
We usually do oysters, a little caviar thing, make a little late night pizza.
How do you prepare? Are Blue Points or what's your oyster of? I suppose
whatever Washington, whatever Puget Sound stuff I can get my hands on. The smaller, the better.
How do you cold? Or you
cold? Yes,
them?
absolutely.
Okay.
No, absolutely. We actually, you know what? I usually split my shucked oysters and do half of them on the half shell on ice, and then the other half do a little Rockefeller style.
I like Rockefeller a lot. And one of my favorite places, anybody who's ever been to Astoria, Oregon, there's a place, I can't think of the name of it, but it's right on the waterfront. And they have, and I'm sure this is everywhere up there, but they have the shot glass with 2 oysters and some cocktail sauce and a little lemon to squeeze in it. I love oyster shots quite a bit. So you think of a pod play while I'm talking. I have it already.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make him sit through my story before we get to this.
Go ahead.
Fast forward if you're in the podcast. I have kids. We can't do fucking oysters. Sure. I would love to do oysters. In fact, maybe I'll get some anyway to just have. My wife doesn't care for them as much as I do, but I haven't had oysters in a while. And also, they're not as good in Minnesota. I'm just gonna tell you that they're not as fresh here.
What?
Boom. But anyway, so I have kids, so we're gonna do like you gotta have something the kids will eat. So we're gonna do, and I do it really good, homemade guacamole.
Ooh,
So
yes.
I'm gonna make fresh guacamole. You gotta get everything fresh, fresh Romas, fresh onions, fresh cilantro, fresh, really good avocados, ripe
Do you
ones.
grate the onion in it?
Yes, yeah, a little bit. I chop and grate. I do both because I
Chop and
like
grate,
some
okay.
chunks. I press the garlic. I squeeze my own limes for it. Like you really got to do it right, and you got to let it sit in the fridge for a bit and marry. So we're gonna do that. Hot queso dip. We're gonna do homemade pico de gallo, and maybe like 7-layer taco dip, and get like 4 kinds. Like we're talking, the ones that have hint of lime. We're talking scoops. We're talking rounds. We're talking the big, like all kinds of chips. So it's gonna be like a chip buffet. And I mean,
love
that might be it. And maybe taquitos, just because I love taquitos and it kind of goes with it.
I love it. I love it. That sounds like an
maybe we see duck. Maybe we see some duck.
Yeah, maybe. The secret pod play is I'm going to need a price from you for
I'll get it.
The Buffalo Bills team total under, please.
I really do think Allen's out in the second half. It's the Matt Barkley show. I'm kind of with you on this. The Buffalo Bills team total is off the board at the fucking book. I'm looking. Why?
I love it. Oh, foie gras Wellington. Oh, wow. Nice, dude. Skyfish is yeah. Skyfish is
Wellington sounds good. Yeah, I'm having.
We usually have Wellington on Christmas Eve at my house.
We did king crab, boy. And that's when, like I say, I have kids and they're picky, but I mean, it's crab. Like even the kids are just like, yeah. I mean, you got to help me with it because it's pokey, Dad. But even they love crab. I'm pulling it up in a different book right now.
It's gonna be like 24.5.
Why is this down at so many places?
It's going to be like 24.5, and we should get
here's a bet you can't make. It's down.
What?
Here's a bet.
It's down everywhere. Yeah. Okay. All right. Just it's not going to fall below anything below 24 is a stay away. If it is 24.5 or higher, we are firing and under.
I'm digging that. Fondue. Right. Yeah. Basically, that's what I'm doing. They love hot cheese. We have a good taco place right by the office here, and it's like. So it's
fondue season.
It's $8.50, and you get 3 tubs like this. One's full of pico, one's full of hot cheese dip, one's full of guac, and a shitload of chips. It's a really good deal. We do that all the time. 5 pounds of ribs, but you don't have a smoker. If you have a big enough grill, any grill can become a smoker. You need like a thermometer does help, but you I don't know if it's a gas grill, you just light two of the burners off to one side and put the ribs on the other side, get the temp at a low, like 225, 250. Same thing with charcoal. You light all the coals, push them off to one side, cook on the other side. It turns it into it's not convection. You're not pushing the air, but it turns it into a slow cook smoker. You can do it with, without a smoker, especially just ribs, because ribs don't take that long. It's depending how thick they are and how hot you're getting that grill. It's an easy cook, so you can do it without
a better way to do. If you have just a standard grill, take the ribs, wrap, put your rub on them, wrap them as tightly as you can in tinfoil, and oven cook them for 2 hours at 300, and then take them out of the tinfoil, brush them with whatever sauce, wet sauce you want, and then put them on the grill to finish them. You'll get a little bit of that smoky flavor in the sauce.
Nice.
Ribs only take
not super hot, but like 350, 400 on the grill. Then
the meat only takes the smoke in the first hour anyway. So
it's hard to get a super deep smoke ring into ribs, but I've done it a few different ways. And there's look up the 3-2-1. If anyone look up the 3-2-1 recipe, that's a good one. Nice. Anybody can nail that, and the rub is super important. Like you gotta have a good rub on there. Make sure you're getting the silver skin off the bottom. Circumcise those ribs, get the skin off, and let's all have a happy New Year's. This is the last episode of the year.
Oklahoma, thank goodness, man.
Score?
Yeah, I was awful too because they had like a third fumble. It was 3rd and 32. and Spencer Rattler totally redeemed himself. 64
totally
yards.
redeemed itself. So look up the 3-2-1 method. That's a super easy way to make ribs.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys.
Ribs sound
Happy
so
New
good
Year.
right now.
Happy New Year. If you are going to tune into the Kolkata that we're doing with Rufus coming up soon, we'll post a link to that. It's going to be a shitload of fun. No idea how big this pot's going to be. I was just chatting with Pizza about the pot size. He was thinking a lower total than I was, but now he's revising that.
You scared him.
I scared him with my guesstimate. I mean, shit, man. Like these guys are pros. Everybody's Bitcoin rich now. Like this could get out of control real quick.
Yeah.
I have no clue. This could get out of control real quick.
Leave your mics on. That's not fair. We're going to be talking in the back, side to side.
Yeah, we got to do strategy, man. And we sure as hell love, man. All I know is that the way they set this pot up, they really incentivized bidding on the 1 seed. My goodness. I'm going to bid up KC and Green Bay. My goodness. Over 100K. Oh, that's Jack's
estimate.
Jack's over 100K that's going to be
we end up paying $1,000 for the Bears.
I'm going to be picking up the scraps if it's over 100K. Yeah. We'll see. Do you think is that your guess? You think I was low?
My guess was between 30 and 80.
Okay. I think it's going to be between 50 and 100. That's my number. And again, this is not dollars. This is
bet the process coins. It's a new ICO.
Right? BTC coin. BTP.
Yeah,
coin.
I don't know what Jack's doing using the American dollar symbol.
Yeah, it's not.
Gambling is highly illegal at Bushwood. No, it'll be interesting because we will absolutely be getting priced out of buying top seeds because there are some people. Now it's not just like, oh, these people have a lot of money. It's like, no, these people fucking love Calcuttas. Like they'll buy. There's too many people that love Calcuttas that'll bet against each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, it could be a real tame night. It could be 10,000. Who knows?
Yeah. No. I mean, honestly, what was funny,
first few bids
it's entirely random. It's entirely depends on the order that the teams come out. It really does. Because if the second or third team is one that everyone wants, then that's going to set the market. And if there's like 3 or 4 teams that are all kind of meh, and everybody's like, well, I guess the pot's only going to be blank, then you're going to really it's going to influence the bidding big time. So I mean, there's kind of an art to a Calcutta, and honestly, I kind of wish Jeff had just decided a priori what order he was going to do them in, because you can game it so that you get the most fun possible pot and the most fun possible bidding if it goes in a certain order. Almost everyone that I've done, it's random, but in reality, there's kind of an art into the way that they release the teams for bidding, in my opinion. But we'll see. Hopefully behind the scenes he did game it a little, but we'll see.
It'll be interesting. That starts, holy shit, that's like 15 minutes. We got to be in that room.
We got to go. Let's wrap this up. Thank you again for tuning in.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how this goes.
Sign up for the WinBet, get a free hoodie from the deep dive. The only way you can get them, you can't buy one. You can only make a bet with our partners WinBet to get a free hoodie. And honestly, there are a lot of other books in New Jersey that will incentivize you to bet with them, but you are going to get like a free play, and you get a free play here too, but you're going to get, something that's not tangible. If you play, you will get something tangible, something you can wear, something that you will wear all winter. And it is one of a kind, and you cannot buy this. You cannot go to a website and buy this. There's only one way to get your hands on one, and that is to be a friend of the pod and sign up with WinBet. So with that, best of luck week 17. I hope you had a tremendous regular season. I certainly had a lot of fun. Congratulations on another winning year, Andy. It has been a ton of fun doing this. And appreciate everybody for tuning in. So with that, enjoy your week 17 football.
Dun, dun, dun.
Got a little trigger happy there. Quick in the end.
Also, wait till we get to the playoffs, because You think this one was short? Wait till we only have 4 games to talk about. We're going to fix that because we're bringing in guests.
Who do you have an idea of who the first guest is going to be for Wildcard Weekend? It's been a tradition that we bring in somebody just absolutely fucking awesome.
I don't know. Let's think of something.
The bar is high, man. The bar is really high.